Hey YouTube, this video is going to be about the changes that I had to make to our brick machine that we imported from China and the reasons that we had to make it. I will go ahead and say that I don't normally start out the video with pictures like this, but I had to give you a primer because something's wrong in the first few clips of videos. Let's see if you can tell what it is. Enjoy the video. Welcome back to the channel. We're getting ready to talk about what it takes to convert the motor on this and add a controller to it. But first, we need to get into the why we're doing it. And for that, it's story time. So last time we had this brick machine out and we made these bricks right here. During the process of making these bricks, we had the machine turn off just suddenly. So then it was a scramble to get the mixture that we had, because these have cement in it. It was a struggle to get the mix out of the machine before it hardened up. We would have ended up with a pretty bad mess. So I'm going to show some of the footage of it happening and how it was disconnecting.
That's different. It's red. The bar is red now.
Still getting voltage from the battery. How's that possible? Reduce the connected load, return to repair center.
Oh, the inverter?
Yeah.
Well, your connected load is reduced.
Yeah, it's off. I got all the breakers off, so it's possible we killed it.
Yeah, maybe.
Somehow. So after that episode of it disconnecting, I've had multiple conversations with different folks and different companies that specialize in industrial machining, industrial machinery, both automated and manual processes. And I've talked to a couple of the tech support guys from a few of the companies as well. And what they were saying is essentially, because I have a motor in the brick machine that is single phase, it's single phase with a 30 amp draw, it's required to have capacitors on it. Those capacitors, what they were saying is something to the tune of they switch on and off so fast that it can cause the inverters that we're running in our off-grid system to show us over voltage. And that's exactly the problem that we were having, is our inverters showed over voltage and would shut down. So we're about to go ahead and swap the motor on it and add a controller to it with some settings and some variable speed, and see if we can mitigate that problem so we can start making bricks. Can't wait to make a house. All right, I have to stop right here and give a big shout out to Nick Sharon at Galco. I'm not sponsored by them, but I might as well, because Nick went above and beyond to help me figure out what specs that I need. And I ended up ordering both the motor and the VFD, or the controller, from them. And through the whole process, he helped me with finding the right one. He even reached out to the manufacturer of the VFD to verify that everything would work correctly for me. So again, I wouldn't have been able to get to the end of this video without Nick's help, so thank you. Let's party. Alright, so I think the next step that I have now that I got it out is I have to get this motor that is right here pulled out of the frame to see whether or not the new motor will actually fit. I really don't have too much idea what I'm doing right now. I'm assuming that there's 4 bolts on the bottom and then a set screw for the drive that actually connects it to this hydraulic pump. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect this power cord, which I believe, if I remember right, is just 2 screws. It's easy. And of course it never fails. As soon as I start touching anything, I immediately have the wind kick up and start blowing things around, so you can't hear me talking. But we'll try to get through this anyway. So I think the next step is I'm going to figure out what I need to do to get that set screw undone. Actually, I don't even know if we need to do that. It looks like it'll slide out. We'll find out. But I got 4 bolts that look just like this that I'm going to try to get off. So that's next. Alright, I got these loose, but my suspicion is that, oh yeah, the bolt just fell all the way through. So I got to figure out how to hold the bolts in. But it's 2. Only 2 more to go, and then I got to figure out what I'm going to do. How the hell I'm going to get that out? So here we go. Let's see if I got the right size. I hope I do. See if I can find a crowbar. I can lift this thing up by the screw. Oh, yeah, maybe. It's heavy. It's pretty heavy. So the question is, how do I pick this damn thing up? Thought of shit in the dirt. It's heavy. Guess I'll work smarter, not harder, and use this skid steer to pick it up. Skid steer to get the fork out, or sorry, I use the forks on the skid steer to carry this heavy motor. Now it's time to pull that bad boy out of the box and do a stare and compare on the two different motors. Yeah, it's a motor and it looks the same. No frizz. Apparently. Alright, that's interesting. The box has handles, I should say, not the motor. I'm not that nice. I'm not that lucky enough that the motor's got a damn handle on it, because that would be crazy. Could have more room, that would be nice, but that would also make too much sense. So, here we are. Alright, I'm going to spin this bad boy around, set it side by side, see what we're looking at. All right, so one of the things I was curious is the mounting pattern and how different it is going to be. And I'm just going to do some crude measurements. There is a little bit of adjustment, and I can always get a grinder out and really make some adjustments if I need to, but hey, I'm looking at somewhere around 14 centimeters front to back. And it's 14 centimeters as well, and then we're going to go this way, which is like somewhere between 18 and 19. Yeah, that pretty much looks the same. So I think these are the same size motor, and the guy that was helping me really knew what he was doing, and I think I'm getting lucky is what it boils down to as well, which doesn't happen to me very often. So now I got to figure out how to get this gear off. I'm assuming it's pressed on. I might need a crowbar. We'll see. So there I was trying to get this little keyed sprocket off. I ended up having to use a hammer and my digging bar. Now the camera's in the way. Ta-da. Now on to the next. Another thing I've got to figure out is how the hell I hook this thing up. So I'm going to pop this off and see what's under it. I got to do some research. I have no idea how to hook this thing up. All right, now it's time for me to figure out how to wire this thing in. So I had to take a pause because I wasn't sure exactly how to wire it, because you can see there's there's 9 different wires in here, but only 6 terminals. So I was trying to figure out what I needed to do to wire this. So what did I do? I went on the good old interwebs, and I'll post a couple links up here in the corner. As well as a couple links down in the description, because these videos helped confirm what I thought I should do based on the nameplate on this motor and the documentation that was given to me. So here we go. So here is the picture that I took of the wiring diagram, and I have 2 of the terminals that are connected together. So W1 and W3 are connected together. V1 and V3 are connected together, and U1 and U3 are connected together. And then based on the wiring diagram, W2 is here. W2 is here, V2 is here, which puts U2 there, I believe. So then when I come in later, I'm going to wire the 3 leads. So U1's going to go here, V1's going to go there, and so U is going to go here, V is going to go here, and W is going to go here, coming from the controller. So that's what I got so far. Let me go ahead and put the cover back on it and see if I can get it into the frame for the brick machine. I don't have the rings to be able to crimp the wire for this yet, so that's going to be later on, but that's the next step inside this box. I'm going to put the cover back on until I get those specific rings. So the next step is for me to put this into the corner right there. Let's see if I can get her done. This motor is definitely a heavy pig, but hey, I guess that's the reason that I work out, so that I can do what I gotta do around the property. So, that pig. think I'm going to go through the back. Because I believe that's how I got the other one out. I'm going to try to set the mount there, and then I'll squat down and see if I can't muscle her into place. By picking it up with 2 fingers, that's a terrible way, but that's what's going to happen. All right. Already trying to get into place. Why did you stop on me? Let's see if I can get this in without smashing my fingers. There we go. Oh, you're big. That to me looks like I'm gonna have to put a washer under it or something. Let's go in for a closer look. I look like I'm too low. That's why it's not sliding in anymore. So I might have to put some kind of spacer to raise the motor. Let's see if I can tip this thing up so I can see what I need to shim or where it's gonna actually get the best results. Okay, so there's just this 1 foot is really the only spot. So I wonder if these shims are gonna be good enough. Just set it down. Let's see. We're winging it right now. Let's see if this shims enough up that I can slide it in. Hey. They give me enough? Oh, like a glove. You see how that just slid right in there? So now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna stick these shims in there to make it work. Maybe I'm gonna drill them. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna drill them. So, stand by. So I used the nut driver to get to this point by stepping up these 4 different sizes, but I've got to go a little bit bigger, so I got to finish it one by one. See if I can get this guy in there good enough to where if it sticks, it doesn't slap me in the face. Seems pretty tight to me. Me and Mr. Argumentative bit in there. Locked in place. Battery on. Safety glasses in. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can get one. maybe a little easier because this softer metal. Hey, look up. Hey. See what I'm saying? It's a bit when we argue. Alright. See if that hole's big enough. Yeah, score. Cool. One more to go. And then it comes time to bolt it into the frame. Okay, now that I made my shims, I'm going to try to see if I can't lift this motor up just a touch, get the shims in it, and get the bolts through it so I can start to tighten it. I don't know how graceful this is going to be, but we're going to try it. It doesn't look like there's very many angles that you can get the bolt through, so we'll see. Something. There's one. There's two. Let's see if I can get the bolt to go up and through. Wonder. That's gonna be a pain. I don't have small hands. Getting it in. There's a piece of wood under it. I don't have access to the bottom, but I'll figure it out. Well, it looks like it's supposed to. I had to shim it a little bit to get it in there, but it seems like the motor's in there. Next step is to get the controller in there and the wiring between the two. Next thing I gotta do is figure out how to put this here controller. I'm thinking down into this area right here. We'll see if I can make it work. I was thinking to put it somewhere like right here. But I don't like the fact that this area right here is way open. So there's a fan right there and a vent. So even if I put it on its side, it's still gonna have holes. It's definitely not weatherproof. Maybe put it like that and then deal with it later. At least if it's right here, I still have access to the buttons on the front of it. And I can see the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do it that way. Next thing is I gotta figure out how to hook it up too, which is U, V, and W, which goes down to that. So let me start with that. This. If I put it in here, you can see that it fits in there, and I counted the number of squares over that I want to go. It's a little flimsy whenever you open this up. I don't know if you've seen this on the brick machine, that these panels actually open up. You can see it's a little crooked, but I think because it has those bolts that it will be okay if I just go ahead and mount it to that, because it holds it straight. So, but we'll see. All right, I got it bolted into the chassis right now. You can see it's nestled down in there. We're gonna see what it looks like if I open this thing up, see if it actually opens. All right, still open. A little wobbly. It'll be all right though. Yeah, good enough. I think that's good enough for gun to work. So yesterday we had to stop because I didn't have any of these ring connectors. Yeah, ring terminals. So I had to go buy some. These are for 10 gauge with a 1/4 inch stud. So this ring fits a 1/4 inch stud. 10 gauge wire goes into it. So now I'm about to put these on this, run it through the chassis, hook it up to the controller, and then see how much I have left of this cable to make the actual cord to go to the outlet with it. Stay tuned. And I am having, we all have those days. I am having one of those days where I just don't want to do anything. I'm having to force myself to do this. I just want to sit and do nothing. Part of me is like, what happens if I do all of this work and it doesn't work anyway? Then I'm back to square one with this brick machine. And this brick machine is like a make or break thing for us for this project, because we were going to try to be one of the first ones in this area to do it. They do it in other countries, but not here. And what I mean by do it, I'm talking about building with compressed earth blocks, compressed earth bricks, whatever you want to call it. They do it in other countries, but they don't really do it so much here, and I wanted to be one of the ones to do it here. So our project's currently hinging on whether or not I can get this brick machine to work right. And on the other side of it is, what if I take all this time and effort and it still doesn't work? And I wasted all that time and effort into it. Worst case scenario, we're going to do rammed earth if this fails, but like it or not, you're going to see whether or not we fail or not. So I got the tips on the end of it, and now I am going to take this cover off, expose the wires, feed the wires in, and then plug them in, and then run them to the bottom of this box, which essentially will connect the motor to the controller. So I was finally able to get the motor mounted down there at the bottom. You can probably see a little bit of blue. And then I also got the controller mounted, which is this purple thing right here. I got it wired for 3-phase between the controller's output and the motor. And then I have the input wired with what I believe, according to the manual, is single phase 220. However, if I plug it in, nothing happens. It doesn't turn on, it doesn't do anything. So I suspect that I have a problem with either the circuit coming in on this line or the way that I wired it. One of the two. So the first thing I did was, the first way that I wired it is I used this 50 amp RV plug, which is essentially 2 legs, right? 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground to provide 50 amps worth of 200, if these two are tied together, worth of 220 volts. I wired it up that way, and then I plugged it in because we wired a 220 volt 50 amp fuse in case we have anyone with a bigger RV come in. We wired it up over there. So I initially wired the controller to use this plug. I couldn't get it to turn on. I couldn't get it to do anything. I have no idea if it was a problem with the wiring of the plug that we installed, or it's something that I wired wrong. I'm not sure. The problem is I've never tested that 50 amp with an actual RV plugged in. All I've ever done is plugged a multimeter into it and read that I have 2 110 legs coming into it. And I believe I have it hooked up. So the next step that I'm going to do in troubleshooting is I went and I pulled the plug off of our well, which is known working. It's a 220 volt slow start well pump, and I know it's working with this specific plug. So I wired this machine the exact same way, the exact same pinout that I have that 220 volt well pump wired, and I am going to try to plug this in to the wellhead, which we know that outlet is good because I pumped it. I ran it for 8 hours the other day just to see how much water we could store in our tanks. So I know that pump is good, or I know that circuit is good. I know this plug is good, so I'm going to wire this the same way that I wired that and see if this comes on. Did it do anything?
It clicked.
No lights on it though?
I don't know. No, it says stop on it.
Okay, so there's a problem with that plug then.
Okay, so it's...
That outlet. Yeah, that's a good sign. I don't think it said stop on it over there, did it?
I have no idea.
I guess I should probably get this closer.
Yeah.
Detecting hertz at least. I'm gonna hit the start button. Well, maybe I'm not gonna hit the start button. There it goes. All right, after about 2 hours of troubleshooting this thing, after I brought it out to the well pump using the well pump's plug, I got it to say stop, but I couldn't get it to start. Nowhere in the documentation does it say that you have to pin these two together. I believe it's because in the industrial environment, they want you to have a safety switch that when you disconnect this, it kills the drive. So pin 1 and 2 on here has to be looped together or it won't even start the drive. So now that we have that, if I hit start, it kind of makes a whining sound, but it's actually putting power to the motor finally. And if I click the speed of the motor up, eventually it will start moving. So I wonder, at a low speed, if it'll actually, it's not blowing bubbles that I hear, I wonder if it'll actually let me run it up and down like this now. I wonder if it's going the wrong direction. Should be that way to go down. I'm not showing any pressure. I wonder if it's going the wrong way.
It's a good start though.
It's turning the motor, which tells me, I wonder if it's just blowing bubbles. I think it is. Hold on. Why we always gotta be out here at midnight doing this shit. Ah, the sticker's rubbed off.
Oops.
I wonder if it needs to go the other way.
I have no clue.
Because I don't see any pressure.
It's supposed to go.
If I remember right, that went up in pressure.
Okay.
I wonder if it's running. It's over full. I think it just dumped all of the fluid in the hydraulic pump back into the tank because it's running backwards. I do know that with 3-phase motors, you just switch 2 of the poles and it reverses the direction of the motor. I wonder if I can do that with a controller. I know I saw it. Where's the setting for that?
Oh, you need manual?
Really? And it's way quieter.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a lot
But
quieter.
it's probably not spinning it enough RPM, so it's moving slower too.
Uh-huh.
There
That's
we
what
go.
it's.
When it binds up, it should show a hydraulic pressure. So when you're doing it and you run it to the top and it hits the top, it that's how you know you've bottomed or you've hit it's binding up, is because the pressure comes up. I wonder if I should go in and switch the motor, or should I just leave it like that? I wonder if it remembers the settings. It sure does. Finally! And it hasn't died yet. Even we bound it all the way up, it's not dying. So we probably should wait until the morning before we kill all the batteries screwing around with this thing. But it's a success. I need a drink. Thank you for watching. You've made it to the end. And for those that have made it, go ahead and comment down below. I'd like to hear from you on any project that you've spent a bunch of money and a bunch of time on that you were worried that wasn't going to come to fruition, or that you weren't going to be able to succeed in that project. Thank you very much, and please like, subscribe, and follow our channel. We're on to bigger and better things.